See who's harvesting fruits and vegetables for Anne Arundel County Public Schools next on Food for Thought. Hi, I'm Jodi Risse, the host for Food for Thought, and thanks for watching. Today I'm joined by Katie Baehr from the Coastal Sunbelt Produce Company, one of our vendors right here in Anne Arundel County Public Schools. We're going to talk a lot about fruits, vegetables, and particularly local produce. Welcome, Katie, to Food for Thought.
Hi, Jodi.
Can you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself before we start the show?
Sure. Produce is actually a second career for me. I spent 10 years in the Navy as a helicopter pilot. That adventure actually started here in Anne Arundel County at the Naval Academy, and then I spent most of my time in San Diego. Out there, I fell in love with farmers markets and local food, and when it was time to decide whether to leave the military or not, I ended up deciding to start a mobile grocery delivery business out there. I worked with 4 local organic farms and about 8 other local businesses. So when my fiance got military orders, who's still active duty military, out here to Annapolis to teach at the Naval Academy, we decided to close that venture up out there, and that brought me out here to Annapolis. And through some networking, through some farm conferences, the CASA conference, I met the vice president of purchasing at Coastal, and that's how I ended up here. Told them what I was up to, and they said they were looking for someone to really build their local produce and buying, and here I am.
Good. Well, we, for viewers watching, Anne Arundel County Public Schools, we serve about 30 to 31,000 lunches a day, and we do a large variety of fruits and vegetables. I think seeing is believing. When you see what our lines look like, it really looks like the grocery store. The colors pop. Our students are going through the lines, and they're just really filling half of their plates with fruits and vegetables, just like USDA would encourage all of us to do when we eat at our different meals. So with Coastal, you're one of our vendors. So what that means to somebody watching is you provide Anne Arundel County Public Schools in our 120 locations all of our fruits and vegetables. What is your role? So when you say you're going to buy at Coastal, so I think everybody knows that obviously we do business with you weekly, all year long. What is your role, or how do you secure local farmers at Coastal Sunbelt?
Yep, so Coastal is a full line of produce. So we get stuff, stuff from Thailand, we get stuff right here from Anne Arundel County from farmers. So we source from all over the globe, but my role is, as the local buyer, is to find those farmers that we can have partnerships with and link them with our customers, such as Anne Arundel County Public Schools. So when the growing season really gets going, which is starting to kick off right about now, and through the fall, things get really busy for local produce, and a lot more options become available. In the winter months, we have some hydro growers in and around the area that keep us going, and some produce will store pretty well, squashes, apples, things like that, that can keep us eating locally year-round.
And I think that's what we're seeing more and more in Anne Arundel County. So we wrote language in our bid, and it says that we would source local produce within 150 miles. Tell the viewers, so somebody watching, what would that mean to them? What's a 150-mile radius for us? And how far out are you looking at those farmers, particularly for Anne Arundel County, because we think you do a great job for us here.
Yeah, what's so neat about this part of the country is you have so many different political boundaries and states and areas around the Chesapeake Bay watershed, but that also gives us a lot of access to a lot of farms. So when you talk geographically, you have southern Pennsylvania all the way down to southern Virginia. We even do some stuff in North Carolina as well, West Virginia, all the way to the coastline. And each customer is different on what they define as local. There is an industry standard. So for you guys, 150 miles, that gives you a really large breadth of a lot of different farmers and really opens your options. Produce, dairy, all sorts of local farming is going around within that radius.
Yeah, I think the joy that we have is that we're able to work with somebody like you, but then really connect to the farmer. I think that's been so important. The more we can showcase, know where your food comes from and know your farmer, I think it really just gives such credibility to the program. And we hope the excitement that our students have when they're coming through the lines with us goes home to the moms and dads. And we hope they say, today I tried asparagus for the first time, or today I had roasted Brussels sprouts. When we see the excitement on the serving line, we know that excitement's going home, and we feel we cultivate communities of wellness. We could do it each and every day, and every single child that comes through our line, we can make a difference for them. When you buy local, and we receive reports, and it's by pounds and whatnot, how do you suggest if there's a farmer that wants to sell, say, to Anne Arundel County? How do we make the connection, or how do you start, for our viewer watching, looking at what our volume is? For instance, 31,000 servings we need. Montgomery County might need X amount. How do you look at that, especially when you throw all the retail side of it into it? Because you're buying for restaurants as well.
Yes, our customers range from, it started off with a lot of restaurants, and we're all high-end hotels. We do a lot of food service. We also do food retail with some grocery stores and institutions like yourselves and hospitals. So we have a large breadth of customers. So as you can imagine, a restaurant takes a lot smaller volume than Anne Arundel County Public Schools do. What's neat about us is we can aggregate a lot of stuff from a lot of farmers. So for instance, you have a really large volume. Well, maybe there's a great farmer that we work with that can't provide it all, but we can aggregate from maybe 2 or 3 local farmers in order to get you your local spinach per se. Basically using different strategies to make sure that we are supporting the farmers and their capacity and allowing them to grow if that is in fact what they want to do. And also meeting the customers' needs, large customers as yourselves, and smaller customers like a restaurant in DC or something.
And I think it's nice when you look at the different sizes of volumes, because sometimes we would say if there was a local farmer and it was very small, it was very hard for us to figure out how to make that, how to make both of our parties meet in the middle. And it really was through Coastal Sunbelt that you've done that. I know it's a few years back, but we had Coastal Sunbelt and my team from Anne Arundel County Public Schools meet at a farm, and we sat at the kitchen table and we talked about what items we could procure, how often we can use them, and kind of what our volume would be. So it actually gave that farmer too a sense of, okay, if I grow X amount of pounds of this, I know that it has a home, and I know it's going to go to the students right here in the county. The movement is also changing. So do you have a lot more requests from maybe customers that didn't use it before
Yes.
to buy more local?
Yes, it's definitely trending, you can say, the local food movement. So that is one of the reasons why we have a dedicated local buyer, myself, and also a dedicated local program at Coastal that we're really trying to ramp up and build, is to fill that need, because we do find customers are requesting it. It is trendy, but we also see it as the right thing to do as well.
We like the fact that you're ultimately responsible for the produce that we receive too. So I know that sounds like maybe we're pushing the burden off, but if we had farmers try to deliver to our schools, it would be it'd be very challenging. It'd be very hard for a farmer to deliver to 46 locations or 120 locations. And I think that's something that some of our viewers may not understand, that we don't have a warehouse. So there's not a warehouse in Anne Arundel County Public Schools that would hold our fruits and vegetables. You're basically our warehouse. And it's amazing when we go to your warehouse. We've visited before, and just to see the volume and the size and the way it's even stored. Can you tell us a little bit about that? I mean, it's amazing seeing the cases of it, and I don't know, it's just like a giant catalog that you could visually walk through and see it all.
Yeah, it's really a fast-paced, really neat operation to see. When you go downstairs in the warehouse, you try not to get hit by a forklift, because literally produce is flying up and down aisles, going 3 tiers high to be stacked. We try to get it out as soon as we get it in. Freshness, that's what's so neat about produce, is it's very dynamic in the fact it's perishable product. So certain things last longer than others, and we have to balance all that to make sure that we deliver really high quality. Like you said, we can be that distribution network for transportation to help you guys, get all of your locations met. It's also very beneficial to certain farmers who perhaps they're serving 6 restaurants in DC, and they have a really awesome niche product, some cool microgreen that everybody wants. At some point, they're spending so much time off the farm making those deliveries, and they need to grow, and they want to be on the farm. So that's where they can come to us, and we can step in, because we can go do the delivering for them and allow them to really concentrate on their product and do what they love to do, which is farm.
And it's funny that you say it that way because I think each of us have our specialty.
Yes.
So we know how to do a lot of meals really fast. As a registered dietitian and a mom of 2 girls in Anne Arundel County Public Schools, I still do the menu. So I'm looking at it nutritionally first. Obviously, will kids eat it, right? It has to look great. It has to be great quality. The farmer needs to grow, right? The focus really should be there. And I think you're the conduit that keeps both of us together. And all of the pieces that we can't do independently, you could piece together for us. When do farmers come out to, the warehouse even there?
Yes,
they do.
Yes, we open doors to anyone who wants to come and check it out. Farmers come all the time, and they're amazed to see the operation that goes down, and they can see immediately the benefits of, if that is what they're looking to do, to distribute more, to find more customers without having to do all the marketing and the transportation themselves. They see like, wow, these people have the logistics and all that stuff down. So when they bring their stuff to us, it's, they can sell a lot to one thing and also serve maybe 10, 20 customers just through one delivery to Coastal. You know, we could take their product and maybe go serve 10, 20, 30,000 kids.
Yeah, and I think we talked a little bit before the show about it. What better way to showcase the farmer and the products and both companies, right? So really AACPS and Coastal Sunbelt. We feel we need to do a better job in Anne Arundel County of really saying this came from Fifer Orchards, this came from Arnold Farms. We need to showcase that we bought it local, and it's right there on the line. And like you said, I think the timeliness of it is quite incredible, that it could be harvested, you pick it up, right? Coastal picks it up, it's back to the warehouse and shipped out to us very quickly.
Yeah,
so
a lot
freshness
can
is
get
key.
lost in the supply chain with the end user and the farmer, and as we've seen, a lot of that connection has been lost in our food system, and that's why this local food program is so important. So we need to do our job as the middleman to be educating and communicating on both ends so we don't lose that connection between the end consumer who's eaten some awesome asparagus and the farmer that's growing it out on his farm, that they still make that connection.
I agree. We definitely support it. Our tagline in Anne Arundel County is that we have healthy students, we have healthy schools, and we cultivate communities of wellness. And each and every time we do one of these shows, I laugh because I always talk about it. And it just all goes back to what can we do to really, make a difference for the students. Some of our favorite items, we only have a few minutes left before we're going to break for this segment, but some of our items and the favorite items that I see are the roasted butternut squash. We do roasted Brussels sprouts, and we do roasted acorn squash. Now, for somebody watching, they're wondering do I really get these butternut squash, and how do I prepare those in a school? Coastal Sunbelt takes care of that for us. Can you just share a little bit about that process and what Coastal does just to receive the product in its whole form and be able to serve it to all of our schools in an easy fashion for us to prepare, cook, or roast for the students?
Absolutely. Coastal has a partnership, sister companies with East Coast Fresh, and we have a processing plant right there next to the warehouse. It's all on the same location, so we can take that raw product, chop, slice, do whatever needs to be done to meet a customer's needs, especially for someone like you guys that are trying to push out meals fast, quick, conveniently, that don't have the time to sit there and chop up butternut squash. We do salsa lines. We do all sorts of things with our processing facility for food retail and for food service. So it's an added benefit to working with us.
Yeah, and I think it's a benefit that we really need in Anne Arundel County. It's not that the staff can't. It's just the volume is so great. And it's difficult to peel and chop a butternut squash. I mean, it's just a very solid, hard vegetable. So it really makes our end easier. And we love that it's a consistent dice. We receive it and we're able to roast it and know that every child who comes through has the capability of taking that and absolutely loving it. Mm-hmm. We are going to be adding some of the new items we're looking at are even roasted pumpkins. So we thought what better way to have pumpkins and hopefully harvested local and receive those diced as well to really showcase the different colors of the rainbow. So as you can see, it's really alive and well. We thank you for your partnership. We thank you for coming in and spending time with us today. And we're going to hear from a farmer next. Don't go away. We're going to be right back with Fifer Orchards right here from Delaware, one of our local farmers and somebody who provides fresh fruits and vegetables to us every day.
Hi, I'm Wiley Baker. Sports abound here in Anne Arundel County. Join me for another edition of Athletes in Action later today, right here on AACPS TV.
This is Amanda, your typical high school athlete, specializing in one sport. Can you guess which one? Correct, soccer. Let's take a look at her diet. She is active 6 to 7 days per week and is allowed 2,400 calories per day. For breakfast, Amanda enjoys a peanut butter and banana smoothie, 2 scrambled eggs, and an English muffin. For lunch, Amanda enjoys a pasta salad with chicken breast. And to finish off a hard day, Amanda has salmon, brown rice, and a baked potato. She has a salad on the side and 2 fig cookies for dessert. However, not everyone can eat that much without consequences. Andrea sits at a desk all day doing schoolwork. If she wants to maintain a constant weight, she should consume 1,700 calories a day. For breakfast, she would have an omelet with a side of cottage cheese. For lunch, a romaine salad with chicken breast and fresh fruit. Andrea would round off dinner with grilled salmon, brown rice, and asparagus. This is Erica. As a vegetarian, she enjoys nuts, beans, soy, eggs, and dairy products as proper substitutions for the protein she would receive by eating meat. Erica is also a big fan of healthy snacks like berries that tide her over until mealtime. As you can see, individual diets vary greatly from person to person. Visit choosemyplate.gov to find a meal plan that best fits you based on your age, height, weight, gender, and activity level.
Welcome back, and thanks for staying tuned to Food for Thought. My next guest is Curt Pfeiffer from Fifer Orchards in Wyoming, Delaware. He's going to really showcase all the great work that he does on the farm, as well as all the local produce that he serves many, many customers. Welcome, Curt, to Food for Thought. Can you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, who you are, and exactly what is Fifer Orchards?
Sure, I'm a 4th-generation farmer. I grew up on the farm in Delaware. It's located in central Delaware. Our farm was established in 1919.
Wow.
And I went away to college after growing up on the farm. I went to the University of Delaware and then went to work somewhere else for about 3 years to get some experience elsewhere, and then I came back to the farm, and now I have a family with 4 children, and I've been at the farm for about 15 years.
Well, I think we were able to visit the farm, and I know we're going to talk about it, but definitely the sense of family on the farm, you could feel it the second you drove on the property.
Yeah, it's a great place to raise children. Yeah.
You could see it, you can sense it, you could feel it. Anybody who would visit, you'd say to yourself, how do I not live out on a farm and just enjoy the great benefit of the earth, right?
Sure.
I mean,
yeah.
for sure. So having been in farming, and it's the 4th generation, like you said, often, folks that might live on this side of the Chesapeake Bay or in an area that's pretty populated or pretty dense will say, like, what does a farmer do? And I think it's amazing being able to be at the farm. Can you just kind of share with the viewers, what's a typical day like? Like, what's a typical day maybe for you, and what's a typical day for one of the hands or one of the staff that you have that, is out in a field or is, doing storing or harvesting or compiling the products at the end of the day?
Sure, yeah. Well, in the wintertime it's slow, but when it's warm out, the warmer it is, it seems the busier it gets. And we have a lot of family on the farm. I have a couple brothers, a cousin, an aunt, and my father is still there as well. So there's a lot of us Pfeiffers running around managing. But it's a long day. We all have our specialized things we do. For instance, I am kind of the liaison between the farm and our customers and communicate what we have and what's going on the farm, and making sure we sell the right amount of product and don't sell too much or not enough. But we usually come in around 6 or 7 in the morning. We meet as managers and determine what all of the employees are going to do, and talk with the employees and make sure that they're going the right direction, communicate as much as possible, which is important. And then my day a lot of times is communicating with customers over the phone and email, and then I usually go out to the fields. I do a lot of scouting to make sure the produce is coming on, to make sure it looks good in the field, make sure we're doing the right things to ensure a quality product. And then we have 2 packing houses where we bring the produce in and pack it into cases. So I go there quite often too, several times a day, to check the product we have and make sure it's good quality and make sure the trucks are being loaded correctly. So putting all that together, and there's many other things that go on, but it makes for a busy day.
I was going to say, you start very early, and I'm sure you go very late.
Yeah, it's they can be easily a 12-hour day.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so valuable what you do, and I think, again, being on the farm. How about, what changes have you seen? And I know with it being in, fourth generation, I'm sure over the years, probably talking to your dad or his dad, right, I guess maybe is where it would have started. The changes must be immense, right? Just how, if we look around in our own environment, all the changes that happen in technology, right, has changed so many things. What things have you seen change, and maybe even what are some of the things that you institute or you implemented on the farm, just coming back, a fresh set of eyes, having the college behind you and the impact you could make to, for the greater good for the farm as well as for the community?
Sure, yeah, it's been a lot of fun just to see with the onslaught of computers. My generation was really the first one to just bring that on, and it's been fun to see it happen, but there's a long list of things. But out in the field we have tractors that use GPS, which help us to put on less chemical and fertilizer. It gives us straight rows, and it's pretty interesting. My kids love it because we have about 4 tractors that steer themselves.
Wow.
They use GPS, and you just get in the row and push a button, and the tractor goes in a straight line until you get to the other side.
That's fantastic. So are the kids able to, I'm sure they could read, they could look, they could chat, they can do.
Yeah, they really find it interesting. They really bug me about going as much as possible on the tractor, and it's a lot of fun. It's really neat. I'm sure it's coming in cars soon.
So do you think, newer generation and loving the technology, like you said, it was of your era. Do some of the older family members kind of look at it like, I don't know, Curt, I don't know if this is going to work, or do they embrace it once they see it as well?
Oh yeah, I think they certainly embrace it. We have a great third generation that's supportive, and they want to see the farm succeed, and really it's just smart. Some of the things we're doing, like environmentally, a lot of the engines we're purchasing now are called a 4th tier. They don't emit hardly any carbon emissions. They use less fuel. It's just smart to do it. And as far as irrigation we're using, it's emitting less water per acre. So we're still watering the crop properly, but there's not as much evaporation going on.
And is that computer sensed as well, or no? Is that just the nozzle,
yeah,
or
the tips? We've retipped a lot of irrigation equipment, and also the new equipment that comes along is retipped. So there's a lot of new technology that we use. We also have grass waterways as well that help to stop the nutrients from going in streams and into the bay and things like that. So that a lot of that has happened in the last 10 years as we can track with computers what's happening and kind of keep track of what we're doing, what we're inputting on the acre. That has come along to where we can conserve and use less outputs.
Right. I guess, do you track what grows more favorably in your region versus a different item that's not growing as well? And I don't know, I'm probably saying it wrong, but right, something obviously produces more fruits or vegetables than a different plant.
Yeah, there's certain things, of course, we can't grow in our area, and we try to focus on the local crops that grow well in our region. But on the Delmarva Peninsula, a lot of things grow well. So we have such great soil there. It's a sandy loam soil. It drains very well. So if we get a heavy rain, we can still get back on the ground a day or two later. And it's flat. There's not a lot of rocks in the soil. So it's a great place to farm because you don't have the hills to deal with, and it's just a wonderful soil. And the most important thing is we have water there.
Right.
So we have wells and surface water that we can pump from and make sure that if you don't have water, you can't really grow fruits and vegetables.
I think in the back of the farm there is a lake or a pond or something that was in the back, I remember. Because I think that your property butts against a property of somebody that I know from Delaware, so I thought it was pretty neat when I went there that I felt part of the family indirectly from knowing family that lives next to the farm. So I found it very special being on that trip as well. I think when we talk about, the different things, you shared with us when we were on the farm, I think there was different apple trees that you have now too, correct? So there was, I'm going to call it the traditional looking apple tree, but then wasn't there a longer, skinnier apple tree that's not as tall, so easier to pick?
Yeah, it's a good memory. We all of the new apple orchards planted by farmers these days are smaller, so workers can reach the fruit easier. And again, outputs, you don't need to spray a tree 5 times the size of these. So they're what they're called high density planting. So there's a lot more trees per acre. They're a little more expensive to put the orchard in up front because you're purchasing more trees, and a lot of times they're on wires and trellis. But in the long run, it produces more fruit, and you don't have to put as many outputs out. And the big thing is for our laborers, they don't have to climb ladders.
Right, they just stand on the ground, correct?
Yeah, they can reach most of the fruit on the ground.
And I know you mentioned the trellis. I remember seeing like the wire, the trellis. Is that so? Do the branches veer off onto that, so then that's holding up the branch a little bit and bearing fruit, or no? I don't even know the purpose of that, but I found it very interesting.
Yeah, it's called training. You tie the tree to the wire and trellis, and it just the tree forms to that. And without it, it needs that for support. Without it, with the hurricanes that come in and the high winds, they have potential to uproot.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that would keep it. And thankfully, where we are, right, we don't have too much of that, but there are high winds often, right? And then
Sure. Yeah.
probably even in the wintertime, do you have to worry about nor'easters coming in, and that could even damage probably some of the trees in off-season?
That's right. That's right. And that's always a concern. And that's the big thing in our industry is the weather. And that's the big wild card and the thing we're looking at all the time.
Always have to keep your fingers crossed and hope for the best,
That's
right?
That's right.
How about your you pick business? I know when we were there, I think there's blueberry crops. Were they blueberry? I think.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that? And I know if you go to your website and maybe even share your website, or we could, we'll put it up on the screen. It's just a great way, I think, for somebody watching, have a field trip and come out to the farm and see it and actually be able to pick some of your own fruits or vegetables.
Yes, my cousin runs we have 2 stores, and then the big one is on the farm. And we have a lot of activities for kids to come out. We have a lot of Delaware and Maryland schools come out to the farm during the week. We have educational fun activities for them to do, like a corn maze with educational type things. And we have, of course, just fun stuff too, but they do learn about the farm and they get to come out on the farm. And usually when they come with the school, they bring their parents during the weekend because they enjoy it so much.
Right.
But we along with those activities, we have you pick throughout the year. In the spring, we have strawberries,
okay.
And then we go to blueberries, and we have peaches, and then apples, and then pumpkins. So that
Oh my gosh.
it just gives the family a thing to do instead of being at home. They can get out on the farm and enjoy the farm, the nature of it.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think exactly what we do in the schoolhouse, you're doing on the farm. So we feel when they come through our service line and we provide all the great fruits and vegetables that we do, they get excited about it. We know they consume more fruits and vegetables, and we know they're healthier for it. And really, they're fueled and ready to learn, and that's our goal in the schoolhouse. Same thing, they go to the farm, they get to see where it's grown, they get to know you, they get to see the farm, they get to see the land, they get to see the stand.
Yeah.
The fruit and vegetable stand's beautiful. If that's under your watch too, it's beautiful, it looks great, it's so appetizing just to go there and see all the different colors with your eyes. You really want to try all of it.
Yeah, thanks.
We only have a short minute left or so. What are other things that you do harvest on the farm that we could just showcase real quickly?
Our main products in the spring, we have asparagus and strawberries that we grow. Those are our 2 big crops. And then in the summer, we go to peaches and sweet corn. And then in the fall, we have pumpkins, apples, Brussels sprouts, and kale is what we do.
Wow.
So a little bit for each season. It helps keep our labor busy throughout the seasons.
And I think the great part for that, Curt, is that we serve almost all of those things in Anne Arundel County Public Schools. So it's nice that we know we can purchase local. And I know strawberries often come from you. I think asparagus we're going to try for the first time coming from you. So it's really great to have the partnership and the connection that we have, that we were able to know our farmer and know the great work that Fifer Orchards does. So thank you so much for coming in today and really sharing with our audience the great work that you do on the farm.
Thank you for having me.
As you can see, eating healthy is really important to us in Anne Arundel County. Healthy students, healthy schools, and we always cultivate communities of wellness. We have many partnerships, not only with our vendors, but with our farmers. We're able to go and work on the farm or see what their farmers are doing and select the perfect foods and fruits and vegetables for your children each and every day. If you have any questions about the school meals program, please call me at 410-222-5900. Keep watching Food for Thought, and we'll see the next farmer coming to you.